Hey, good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Welcome in, welcome in. Have to apologize about yesterday. Wife got sick early Wednesday morning. Reaction to the first dose of the vaccine. Had to take her to the emergency room. Stayed there till just about 9 o'clock. And now I'm dealing with a major arthritis flare up. But we're going to try to push through, see what we can get done today. But welcome in, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody's having a great morning. We've already got a bunch of missions already picked up here. Sorry, had to check something out real quick before we started. We've already got a bunch of missions here. All nice little quick deliveries. So let's go ahead and hop right to them, shall we? Just trying to mess around a little bit yesterday, move some of the windows around. Get some things situated a little bit better to where I can see them. Okay. Got that taken care of. That going on. Mm. Into Cassidy Gateway. On the back side of the sun. I do a little quick maneuver, get away from the sun here, where we get see her. I hope everybody's doing good this morning. Hope everybody's had a great week so far. I know it's Thursday morning, week's almost over, weekend's almost here. Almost time to start kicking back, relaxing, having some fun, getting out of the house. Coming in gently, gracefully. Looks almost Earth-like. Nice green continents, a lot of oceans, cloud cover, so there's rain. Turns us around. Takes us to the mail slot. If it gets us in this time without bouncing us off of something. That's what it did to me Tuesday night. It bounced me off something. It scratched the paint. Wasn't a good thing either, but it scratched the paint. We are delivering these items first because the fact that they are tangible goods. We want to get them out of our cargo hold because if something happens and we get blown up, we'll lose the missions otherwise. End up having to pay fines, take faction hits. The data information isn't that bad. Something happens to it. Yeah, I think I've already got another one of those, but we'll just add that one into the pile. Another quick jaunt, drop off these tangible goods. See, which is 24 units of clothing, and I got 2 other units that I picked up on a mission the other day. Okay, somebody's coming through. We hurried up and blasted through the mail slot just to get us out of the way in case anybody else decides to come in while we're trying to get out. Still mass locked. Can't gauge warp yet. There we go. Now here we go. Not bad. Alderman 2. Checking where some of these go. Of course. Ooh. Got another one for here. That'll be good. Got two deliveries here. We'll drop this one off, drop the other one off, and then be on our merry little way. Yeah. Everybody's in a rush for their stuff. They always are. Here's our second destination here. Watching one of my dogs real quick, seeing what she was deciding to do. She was running around bouncing all over the place. She bounces off the walls this morning. She's 5 years old, nothing but a big puppy. It's hard to believe she's so old already. Yeah, let's see. Reputation change. Yeah, you'll get it within an hour and 17 minutes. It's a coming. Get a little boost, gets away from the mass lock, and boom. Everything's always the boom. Slow down for it. Hey, Real Zevious. I'm doing good. How are you doing today? Welcome in, sir. Welcome in. Oh, we got this going on. I still need to fix the shout outs I need to add in. Haven't done that yet. Had too many other things going on the other day, unfortunately. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in Real Exevious, friend of the stream. Great guy, great entertainer, great commander. Fantastic commander. If you don't know who he is, please click that link over, give him a follow. leave us notification bell on. Make sure you tell them Astro sent you over. How are you doing today, sir? Welcome in. Hope you and your family are all doing fine. All right, I guess. Thanks for singing my praises. Ah, man, you don't disappoint. You do not disappoint. That's the reason why I keep coming back. I lurk most of the time, don't say much, but I'm there. Trying to pick up some good combat tips, and I'm watching you, and I'm learning a bit more and more. Been in a bad headspace the past few days, Dance Thompson. Oh man, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Hope he recovers quickly and gets out, gets back home. Yeah. My wife had her first vaccine shot Tuesday morning. We had a bad reaction Wednesday night and ended up having to take her to the hospital for it too. But I hope your dad recovers quickly. Another heart attack. He got transferred today for an angiogram. Our local hospital won't have the equipment. Oh, brother, I am so sorry. Look, for the past 8 years, they've finally been able to regulate my blood pressure. But 10 years before that, it was uncontrolled. I had two major heart attacks and so many numerous ones, it's impossible to count. Before they got it regulated, they finally told me that if I had another major, that would be it for me. And then I started having blood pressure problems late last year and had a stent put in November. You know, if you find you need to talk, shoot me a message anytime. You know, I'm always here for you. I'll always be here for you. Let me since I've got whispers turned off, let me shoot you a message here in case you ever need to. About where he's at. Had one of those internal defibs installed a few times. Hmm. I didn't know they had internal defibrillators that they can install. Seems like they should be able to program them to set a different time. Just like the regular ones. Yeah. I have one of my friends one night, he got hit in the chest or something at work, and they ended up having to do that to him while he was conscious. He said it was like being kicked in the chest by a mule. Man, that's do do they have any idea what's causing it? Is it a blockage? Is it most time it probably blockages. Mine, they could never figure out why all of a sudden I went from feeling fine and no problems at all to randomly having low blood pressure drops to where I almost passed out. They found a small blockage in a vein, ended up having to put in a stent because it was too close to the heart. Since they've done that, I haven't had any problems again, but also since they've been regulating my blood pressure finally with medicine after they found something that worked, they finally got me back under control. My wife and I were already planning for the worst. Oh, he's had a few stints in the past. I do hope they take care of it and get your dad back out of the hospital. I really do. Please keep me informed also. Please. He's had trouble with medications. Side effects usually make him miserable. I have had some nasty side effects from medicine before. Very nasty. And there was one pill I was taking. I finally had to quit taking it because I felt like I had spiders or something crawling all over me. And that night I just couldn't stop. I clawed myself to pieces. Some of the medications they have now work good, but some of the side effects, if you ever read the documentation with them, they're just they're horrible. But do please keep me informed about your dad. Really. I didn't even find out until the next day he'd come by ambulance and left his phone at home. Still, somebody at the hospital should have been able to call you and let you know. I mean, notification is the key. That should be a service that they provide easily. Apparently, he's having breathing issues, so it was also a COVID scare. Oh. See, one of the reasons why my wife wanted the shot was because she's got asthma and she has bronchitis at times. So she's at a risk for it. Yeah, you definitely need to correct that. Definitely need to correct it. He tested negative, though he did have fluid in his lungs as a result. Probably. Probably. Um, when I had one of my major heart attacks, I didn't have fluid on the lungs, but I was having problems breathing because it just, they say it feels like an elephant sitting on your chest. That's how mine felt. I was having to take shallow breaths because I couldn't breathe in too deep. Just felt like something was just crushing my lungs. They figured the blockage was in the arteries that feed the lungs, so his blood wasn't getting. Ooh. Yeah, I could see how the fluid would do that. I could see that. I had an aunt who, I'm trying to remember because this happened around 93. I had an aunt who had a blockage in her lungs. And I'm trying to remember what the doctors did for her. Can't remember if it was medication or some kind of outpatient procedure. He said he felt pretty much normal when I finally spoke to him the other day. Couldn't speak to him today because he was out for procedure. You know, that was one of the things about my heart attack when it hit was the fact that, whoops, wrong button. That's not what I wanted to do. One of the things with mine was the day it happened, man, it just felt like everybody was just stomping on my chest and all. You know, and after they gave me a shot of something, it was like the next day, everything was fine again. There was no pain, there was no discomfort, there was nothing. And they finally determined that my wild blood pressure swings, believe me, they were wild. My highest blood pressure reading was 211 over 217, so I was at high risk of stroke. In fact, the doctors who looked at me were actually surprised I didn't have one at that point. They finally determined mine was just genetics because they could find no blockage, no nothing. There was no reason for it to be occurring and medicine not helping. Modern medicine is pretty amazing. Yes, it is. My last heart attack was 12 years ago. It was 12 years ago. And they finally had a new drug come out at the time they wanted to test on me. It's like nothing else worked. They couldn't find a combination that worked. So, like, okay, we tested it. My wife wasn't too happy about me choosing to be a guinea pig, but it was my choice. And it combined with another drug finally worked. It took about 2 weeks for my blood pressure to drop to near normal. Still a little high, but nowhere near what it was because my average used to be 177 over 171. Still kind of bad. But they finally got it regulated. Now it's something like 91 over 101. So they're happy, they're satisfied. They can't get it to go down more than that, but I'm only 30 and I've had some weird things. Pretty sure I've had minor stroke or two, at least one minor seizure. Ah, man. I've got a good friend of mine. She was on meth and we never knew it. And she finally got clean. And now she's starting to get her life back in shape. Everything's going great for her. And Now she's starting to have some medical problems. So we're watching her closely, praying for her closely, and I'll make sure to pray for your dad, man. Not proud of it, but hey, it's a thing. We all have our own little demons. We all have our own little demons. And we do. But you know one thing? It makes us part of who we are. And that's one thing I always told my son when growing up. In fact, if you could go back in life and you could change the mistakes he made, you wouldn't be the person you are today. Hit rock bottom and come back up, not completely clean, but you got control of it. You controlled it. And you still do. You're not letting it control you. I had a problem with drugs were never my thing. My thing was always alcohol. I started realizing I had a problem and started backing off of it. Have the urge to do it quite a bit, but I control it to where an occasional drink isn't bad. I know when to stop now. Then there was no stopping. It got me in a lot of trouble, and that's my personal little demon. Rock bottom was empty. Yeah, it wasn't your time, and I've been there before too. My wife walked outside one time and caught me about 2007, and she caught me out in the garage. I had gone on a binge, and she walked outside just as I was putting the gun in my mouth. The only thing that the only thing that's the only thing that saved me was the fact that I forgot to take the safety off. But yeah, I've been there. I've been there. It's it's never an easy thing to admit, and it just kind of hit me hard when I finally came back to my senses. So ever big on drinking, metabolism's too fast. I'll start drinking at 8. I'm hungover at 10. Usually it takes me a while to get drunk. But the way I used to be, it was one right after the other. Thanks, Real Zevius. Thank you. Thank you, Blazing Butterfly. How are you doing today, ma'am? Welcome in. Welcome in, Commander Orange Phoenix. Yeah, you kind of did. But how are y'all doing today? Welcome in. Hope y'all are doing good. Let me get control of my mouse here, see what's going on. That's okay, Zevius. Sometimes it helps to vent because you never know what somebody else has gone through. But a lot of us do understand. A lot of us do understand. A lot of us have been there, and it helps to always talk to somebody who has been there. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in Commander Orange Phoenix, another one of our great elite dangerous community members. Fantastic guy, great content creator. Please go check him out. Make sure you click his link, give him a follow, and let him know that Astro sent you over. And then we have our always beautiful, boy, I cannot type this morning to save my life. And our always beautiful Miss Blazing Butterfly, another great content creator. Please go check her out. Click her link, give her a follow. Make sure you tell her I sent you over. But welcome in this morning, everybody. Best revenge on death is survival. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. I only found out you can use the @ and shoutouts like a few days ago. I just find it's a lot easier so you don't have to type in the full person's name. So, especially me in the mornings, it's like my fingers don't work right. It could take me 5-10 times to get somebody's name right in typing. So I just do the first couple of letters. It makes it so much easier. Y'all are welcome. Y'all are very much welcome. But yeah, like I said, you never know what somebody has been through. You never do. And I'm always available if you need to talk. Just give me a holler. That's what kind of guy I am. I've always been a good listener. Not always a good talker, but I'm a good listener. I am a good listener. And of course, like a good true friend, anything said between us stays with us. Don't go any further, ever. Whoops. Well, how far away was the system? I didn't think it was that bad. Oh, yeah, okay, that's a problem. Actually, I think I've got something to drop off there. I appreciate your honesty and putting up with me. Man, I'm not putting up with you. Y'all put up with me. I'll keep coming back. Believe me, I do appreciate it. But that's how you can always tell your true friends. Your true friends will be the ones who always be there for you through thick and thin. No matter what's going on in your life, they're always there. And even though we're across the ocean from each other, doesn't matter at all. Doesn't matter. We're just scanning to make sure we don't have. Nope. Okay, we got nothing here. We're just looking to make sure. I thought we did. Big old dirt ocean. Oh. I don't know why I was thinking you were up over in the UK. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. See, I'm halfway across the country from you. I'm in Kansas. Want to see dirt country? Come out here. I'll show you dirt. I'll show you lots of dirt. Got some good fertile farmland, though. Most people on at this time are UK, to be fair. Maybe that's Maybe that's what I was thinking. I still don't understand why I was thinking that you were in the UK. Yes, misplaced butterfly. I know you're in Michigan. How's Marcus doing this morning? Has he made it in from work yet? Have you had your cup of coffee? I know I haven't had my coffee yet. Why? Because I was too lazy. My foot was hurting too bad. I didn't feel like standing on it to wait. Yep. He's on Valheim with RG. One of the reasons why I always stream about this time is the fact that I've got a lot of responsibilities going on with the wife, the dogs, and everything else around here at the house. But I also made an agreement with a buddy of mine who streams a long time ago that when he streamed, I would never stream at the same time unless we were both playing the same game and we're doing it together. So I've always stuck with my agreement, and I've got too much stuff going on in the mid afternoon and too much stuff in the evening that it's just not feasible for me to turn on the stream for about an hour, hour and a half. So I made the time. This is the only time I can do it. So it works for me. I need to sleep, but anxiety has had me sleeping at fully random. I understand, Zeus. I understand. I was like that yesterday. After we got back home with my wife, she was sleeping on the love seat in the den. That's where she wanted to sleep. So it's like, okay. Fixed her a nice little place. She laid down. She passed out. She was in the room right next to me. She hollered at me to shut up a couple times. So I knew she was feeling better. I think I finally got some sleep around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, 3:30, for about an hour and a half. When she was finally sitting up and able to move around and take care of her stuff. She's never been one that stay laying down during the day. She always had to be up doing something. Well, before I lay down, I checked on her, and she was just sitting there on her computer, playing around on Facebook, talking to her friends. At least it was a sign that she was feeling better. Got my coffee, yes. Stepped out of my comfort zone yesterday. Had to step out of your comfort zone. I haven't checked on her this morning, but last night before she went to bed, she still had a very low grade fever. Um, no chills, no nausea. Her arm's still swollen, but she was able to use it somewhat. But it was getting better. Her arm Wednesday morning looked about like my thighs. They were huge. It was huge. She looked like Popeye in one arm. That was the first thing I saw before I realized we had a problem and had to get to the hospital. But apparently she's doing okay because she hasn't screamed my name in the middle of the night. And believe me, when she did that Tuesday morning, she scared the hell out of me. I've seen some bad reactions to the vaccines. I'm glad she's doing okay now. Yeah, um, because she has asthma and bronchitis, she wanted it because we've had to take such precautions to be careful so that we wouldn't accidentally catch it. Let me in. Let me in. But yeah, she was excited when they finally called her up and let her know. Okay, he took off. He's accelerated forward. She was excited when they finally called her up and told her she could get the shot. So she ran down there to go get it. They told her about the side effects. She signed the waiver form. She wanted it, but she was also advised not to get the second shot now. After the reaction with the first one, she was advised not to get the second one. So hopefully she won't get it. But knowing my wife, as stubborn as she is, she'll go get it. I played a different game. I think she will in a couple days. She'll be fine again. I know a buddy of mine who works down for EMS down in Baton Rouge. He ended up getting his. He didn't have any reaction to the first shot. It was the second shot that gave him a bad reaction. So she and I haven't talked about that yet. She still wants me to get it, and I don't know. I just don't know. I haven't made my mind up yet. Oh. There have been 2 outbreaks at my grandmother's care home. I think she's had one of the shots that you mentioned. And you know, that's the bad thing, is that the folks who are at, I don't want to say old folks home, but nursing homes, assisted care facilities, however you wish to call them, they're the ones suffering because they can't have the contact that they need, stimulation from their family. You know, somebody's in the hospital, you can't quite go visit because the hospitals have got extended regulations now. And my mom wasn't able to go see her for months, couldn't go see her on their shared birthday. Share a birthday? Oh, that's good. That is very unique. That is very unique. Now that gives them a perfect bond right there. You know, mother and daughter have the same birthday. It's just how I think it takes away from their stimulation. I mean, they need the human contact with family. Looking through a window and talking on a phone or talking through the glass pane, that's just not the same. And I mean, it's pretty much the same with kids. Kids in school, they need to have the stimulation with other classmates, other children.
Zero Dragons!
Son of a Marcus. Marcus, thank you for the 50 bits and the heart attack, dude. Oh, wow. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that. Jimmy says he always almost leaks a little bit. Yeah, I can see where it comes from. Good morning, sir. Welcome in. How are you doing today? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in another good friend of the stream, Mr. Imfree2010, otherwise known as Marcus. If you don't know who he is, please click that link, go over, give him a follow, leave his notification bell on. Make sure you tell him Astros sent you. How are you doing this morning other than going around scaring the crap out of people? See, I forgot for a moment there, we still have one more jump to do. Wow. Playing Valheim with Ark. Man, that was... Okay, I am fully awake now. I am awake now. Ark, my brother, good morning. How are you doing today? Welcome in. Grandmother is actually mom's mom, step parent technically. Both lost their parents at different times that I use sometimes. You know, real, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter. It all depends upon how you look at it. Maybe some kind of step relationship, but that doesn't matter. Is he stupid Twitch unfollowing people? Yeah. And I'm also... Hey, real, it takes all types to make a big family, man. It takes all types to make... I could do no right to anybody's eyes. No matter what I did, it just was never enough. The only time my grandfather ever actually was proud of me was when I joined the service. Now, my grandmother and my mom, they had different things that I made them proud of. My dad, I could never do anything to satisfy him. I was always a failure in his eyes, and he had no problem about saying it all the time, too. But that was him. That was also one of the reasons why my dad and I never really got along. Even in medieval times, adoption was on par with birth. I don't think any of them... Exactly. You're all still family. They're still... You still look at them as mom, dad, grandparents. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. None of that matters because y'all are all family. Really, Imfried? Really? Especially that one. Thank you for the 100 bits, sir. And yes, that soundbite was actually me. My best friend streamed one day. I couldn't hit the mute button in time. Actually, no, with that one. Yeah, there was more than one. With that one, I was sitting there. I felt it coming on. I had just said something and I hit the mute button. I released it and then all of a sudden I hear, and it was like, oh crap. I looked over, the mute button was not lit up. So I blasted across the microphone and everybody in his stream heard me. And they made a sound clip of it. Speak up some. Sorry, all right, sorry. Sorry, sir. Oh, look at the meter. It's passing through quite loud. Astro, I look at you like my great before the beginning of time, great grandpappy. Oh, God. Yeah, let's see. Since I've been streaming, I have been called uh called Neanderthal Man. I've been called Moses, Santa Claus, ZZ Top, great grandpappy. I've been asked how it was when Moses parted the Red Sea, Noah built his ark, how I survived the Civil War, how I survived the Black Plague. How is it I'm able to deliver so many presents overnight in one day? Yeah, believe me, I'm used to it from all these. I am. I'm old. I acknowledge it. I used to have a beard all the way down to here, so it's yeah. Yeah. He's Betty White's son. That's because he is older than dirt. We have the clip to prove it. What number on your list am I? Don't worry, Ark, you're working your way up. But nobody replaces Jimmy at number 1. He will always be number 1. But it's okay because I sent him another gag gift to get his attention. Okay, if the beard was still there, I can see ZZ Top. Yeah. When I had the long beard, I was in Walmart grocery shopping one day. Had on my usual dress, jeans, Western style shirt, cowboy hat, boots. That's the way I always dress up. I had this little girl who kept walking away from her mom, coming up to me, waving, thinking I was Santa Claus. So I kept having to take her back to her mom because she'd run off to come follow me, and she'd follow me through the store. So I always ended up having to take her back to her mom. One little boy was sitting in a basket one day and kept saying Santa, Santa, and I couldn't figure out what he was talking about. And his mom turned around, looked at me, and goes, "Honey, that's not Santa." And I walked up to him and I said, "Shh, don't tell anybody Santa's grocery shopping. Santa needs to eat too." And I walked off, and his mom was just smiling. I've always loved kids. I've always loved kids. Sits in her corner quietly drinking her coffee. Ah, come on, Blazin'. You know you want to get in on it. You know you do. You always have. Good, he can have it. I'm after the number 2 spot. Yeah, well, you can be tied with RG and I think Imfried for that one. But yes, yes. I finally had to shave it because I made one, it was getting too long and too much to take care of. And I made a deal with my buddy's community that if they hit a certain number of subs, I'd shave it off. Well, within a month and a half, they hit their goal. So 3 days later, the beard came off completely. I streamed it too. I had fired up a second stream. It lasted for 20 minutes and I took the beard off. You know, game a challenge. They met the obligation, had to fulfill my end of it. So that's what I had to do. And I did it. And it was growing back pretty good. All up until a couple weeks ago, I went to go shape it. Didn't have a guard on it on the shaver. And my great big Pyrenees mix Penny decided to help me and jumped up and hit my arm at a wrong time, and I took a massive chunk out the side that I couldn't cover up. So I had to cut it down again. So now it's started growing back out again. I wanted to get big, but not as big as it was the first time. She just decided to help me. That's all it was. Oh, I'm not opening my mouth and inserting my foot. I know better. I shaved mine off a few weeks back. Had a couple bad ingrown hairs I couldn't deal with through the bush. Yeah. Had to deal with that too. Had to deal with the dry, itchy skin, even with the beard oil. One of the problems I had was this thing was everywhere. It was everywhere. My wife would look at me. She goes, "Is this my hair or yours?" And she'd pull out these big long strands and pull it up. She goes, "Oh, it's silver. It's yours." You know, I used to have a big bushy beard back in the 90s. It used to be bright red, almost orange, but man, it had just about every color in there. Kind of wish for that day again when it actually had some color left to it instead of being gray and silver. The sunlight, it sparkles. My mom's blonde hair was like that as she got older. She had blonde and silver hair. Yep. And she told me that every one of those silver hairs was caused by me. Every single one of them. Every single one. And little did she know, she was probably right. Because I was not exactly the nicest child. Oh my God, Astro, did I tell you about my friend Joe and the new workout he's on? I'm almost afraid to ask. Tell me about it, Ark. Decent beard going to a couple inches off my face, but it tangled like crazy, split ends. And that was one of the problems I had was constant tangling. Finally figured out it was just the way I was combing it and I was washing it. I was just doing it an odd way and everything would just tangle up. You know, the brush would get caught in there. I'd just yank them all out. And then I'd realize, that's about 6 or 7 hairs there. Start looking through, pick through, looking for the bald spot. I want to see the big bald spot. All I had to do is put my head down and just, look up at the crown of my head. Yeah, the dry, itchy skin was bad. When I cut the beard off in September, man, the itchiness was unbearable. But I don't remember when it started growing out a couple years before that, it being like that. And I also told people that that was the first time I had been completely clean shaven since my mom's funeral because I had the big red bushy beard, and she always told me every opportunity she had, she always hated it. Always. So since my grandma stayed with me and I took care of her after my mom passed, told my grandma I'd go ahead on to the funeral home. I'll be along shortly. I had something I had to do. After she left, for my mom, I cut it completely off. There was nothing left. And when I walked up in there, my grandma just busted out in tears because she knew I had done it for my mom. Because she absolutely hated my beard. She absolutely hated it. I worked outdoors. I was a land surveyor. We were always out in swamplands and things like that. And where it was a pain in the butt to have it summertime out there. And when it's 105 degrees, 100% humidity, you know, you're always scratching it. You're always sweating because of it, but it kept the mosquitoes off my face. Kept them off my neck too. So that's the reason why I kept it. Plus the fact when it got cool a little bit, it was great for that too. Kept me nice and warm. But every time I saw her, she goes, "When are you going to shave that thing?" She goes, "It looks like a bird's nest." Yep. He's on a workout called the Dolly Parton. Have you ever heard of it? I don't know if I really want to answer this question, but no, I haven't heard of it. Me neither, but it made Jolene. I knew I shouldn't have asked. I should have been prepared for that. Thank you, Art. Thank you. Thank you for the smile. Yep. That was good. That was good. I didn't think about trying to think about her list of songs to find out which one in particular you were getting at, but I should have known. I should have known. I really should have. Especially knowing you. Yep. Yep. The one upside of current pandemic, my face has never been so warm in winter with the mask on. I will say that too. Yes. Yes. When I had the big beard, it was problematic because I always would take them, you know, I'd always put in the silent gel. I'd always make sure it was nice. It was flat, you know, comb down, looked nice. Then you put the mask on and it tucked under the chin and it shoved those hairs back to where the balm I put in, the hair wouldn't go down straight. The hair would go down and tuck inside where the mask was and then come down after I take the mask off. Yeah. I'd come home, my wife was looking at me funny. She goes, "Wore your mask today, didn't you?" Like, yeah, I know. I know. I know. She liked it. She thought I was stupid for shaving it off. Actually, I really had to get rid of it. It was being a problem taken care of, and the fact it was getting caught in everything at that point. I'm going to let it grow back, just not as big. Not as big this time. It's not. Leo Lean, we're good. All right. I love you, man. But man, there sometimes I just hate you with some of the stuff you come up with. I cannot believe that. That's right. The mask dented my beard. And at least I know I'm not the only person having to deal with that, though. I see quite a few other people who've been that way as well. I got a buddy. He's the exact same way. He takes his mask off. He's got the little beard dent as well. I always used to laugh at him about it. He got so mad of it, he cut his beard down too. His wife was mad at him though when he did that. His wife was furious. She liked it. She liked his. She didn't like mine. She's one of the people who call me a bad influence. You're a bad influence. You're teaching my husband bad things. Your husband was the one who got me set up on bourbon and cigars again. So that's him. That wasn't me. That was him. But I'm the bad influence. Yeah. Uh-huh. I wish I could tell you the adventure of my sleep and what happened the other night. Uh, I don't know if I want to know about that one. I don't. I really don't know. Knowing you with sleep could be anything. I do, however, remember you waking up out there in your front yard one day. You telling me about that one. I was a big fan of eating hair with every meal, either with the lung. That was another thing mine with the little styling balm is the fact that I would always comb it away from the sides of my mouth, and I always had to make sure to take the food, from a long distance just so it wouldn't get caught in it. But yeah. I remember that right after I shaved it, I went and got in the shower because all the loose hair. My wife got up in there. She bathed one of the dogs. She's cleaning out the drain. She goes, I can't tell if this is the dog's hair or yours. And she started looking at it. She goes, well, I'll be damned. This is all yours. And then she started fussing at me for not cleaning out the drain. I didn't know. Reminded her of her hair I pulled out of the drain quite a bit too, especially when it get clogged up and the water wouldn't go down. Yeah, my wife and I have a good love-hate relationship. We love each other, we hate each other, we like to argue. Sometimes about the stupidest little things. Yes, no. Nope, still no. You will love me. It's TOS safe, but I can't type that much. Yes, that happened too, but not this time. Trust me, you will want to hear this as it's as epic as you are. Okay, that's the part that scares me. It's as epic as I am. Never mind complying. Come on, let me in. I've just seen 2 starships take off from here. Finally. Eating with the big beard is like trying to find anaconda through the mail slot without bumping anything. I didn't realize it would be so bad. I really didn't. I didn't. I went to go change the brakes on the car one day. So I'm out there, I'm working on the car, on our truck. I'm changing the brakes on my wife's truck. I'm out there and I'm doing it all, and I got a little grease on me. It's like no big deal. I'm used to that. Just a big grease monkey. And then all of a sudden I go in the house, I go to kiss my wife and she stops me. It's like, what? She goes, you didn't wash your hands. Like, yeah, I did. I washed my hands. My hands were clean, about as clean as they could be, getting all the grease off. And she goes, you got grease in your beard. I'm like, dude, what? She's like, yeah. I'll take the beard and I'll flip it up to where I could see it. And it's like, yeah, I got a big old blob of grease right in the middle of it. Never even knew it was there. And she's laughing. I kind of took some and wiped it on her, and boy, that was a mistake. Shouldn't have done that. I messed her up her makeup. She was going to go out with friends, and then she had to go redo her makeup because I did that. I just completely ruined her night. Like, sorry. It was a joke. Get over it. Sometimes if you target the person in the pad, okay, thank you. Thank you for that. It's really a funny story he told me about it. It's funny. Don't be scared, be willing. Oh boy, boy, boy. Arik, I've seen some of your stories. I've heard some of your stories. Some of your stories are really intriguing, interesting, different. I'm trying to figure out what the right word is for them. Nothing wrong with getting a little dirty, but I can. All right, Ark, tell your story. And you're right, Blazer. My wife's been out there to help me before, especially on her own vehicle. I tell her what to hand me, and she hands it to me. You know, I taught her how to change a tire in case she gets stranded, so she didn't have to wait on somebody else. She didn't have to wait on me if she was too far away. I taught her how to do that. Taught her how to change her battery, check the fluid levels in her vehicle, make sure never to open the radiator when it's nice and hot. Of course, when I was showing her how to check her fluid levels, she almost popped the radiator open after she'd been driving around for a couple hours. It's like, nope, 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 nope. It still hasn't cooled down yet. You don't want to do that. Why? You'll get splashed with boiling water. She knows how to do all the basic stuff. So she was just sitting out there with me, wanted to keep me company while I was working on her truck. Like, okay. Where did I go to tell it, Daddy? Where do I go to tell it, Daddy? I'm almost afraid, but send me your story on Discord probably, because that would more than likely be the best place. Boy, I'll see people pop the rad when it's hot. I was supposed to spoke to the dome with the cat. Yeah. I worked as an auto mechanic in a car dealership for a while. Most of the time I worked in the parts department, but sometimes I flip-flop back and forth when they needed the help. Yeah, there was one lady whose vehicle was just running hot, and we were feeling the radiator cap. There was nothing in it. There was no heat. We started looking at the reserve tank. There was nothing in it. I mean, the other guys were standing there looking at it going, all right, let's pop it. We stood back, got a fender cover, put it over it, and we popped the top on it. We don't think there was anything inside of it. We don't think she had any coolant in the car at all. He wants to tell it through voice. Huh. I'll think about that one, Ark. I joined your flock shop. Your soul is mine. Yeah. Yeah, no coolant. Kind of like my mom. She didn't understand what the little red can was. The light for the little red can. Oil can. Yeah. She was coming home from work one day. Truck started giving her problems, so she pulled her truck up over the school that was closed for the afternoon, and she walked 2.5 miles to get to the house before the time of cell phones. So she got to the house, and I'm outside, and I'm playing with the dog. And she looked at me, and she goes, I need your help. I'm looking at her going, where's your truck? She lived across the street from me. And she goes, it broke down. Let me go change clothes. It's like, okay. So she went to change clothes. I took her over there to where her vehicle was. Asked her what was going on with it. She never mentioned anything about the dummy light. Come on. So I'm up over there and I'm looking at it and I pop the radiator. There's nothing in it. I'm just looking at her after I look inside the radiator. I mean, I got a flashlight and I'm looking inside of it as far as I can. There's nothing inside of it. So I just put the cap to the side. I grab the oil dipstick and I pull it out about 2 to 3 inches, and it's nothing but milky white all the way to the top. And I pushed it back down. And I put the radiator cap back on and I shut her hood. She goes, do you know what's wrong with it? Yeah. Well, what's wrong with it? I tell her, you need a new truck. She's like, what did I do? I told her, you blew the head gasket. Told her, she had a little Chevy S10. Told her, you blew the head gasket. Your coolant is now mixed completely with your oil. Said the engine is probably gone. I asked her, did any of your little lights come on at any time? She goes, well, there was that little thing that looked like a can. And I'm looking at her going, how long was it on for? She goes, oh, about a month. I kept forgetting to ask you about it. And I'm just sitting there and shaking my head because her vehicle was now in a bad part of town and she somehow had made it back home. And I'm just shaking my head going, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. So I told her, we'll leave your vehicle here. We'll go home. We'll eat. We'll come back when it starts getting dark and traffic was getting lighter because it was still rush hour. We towed her vehicle back home. And because I worked at the auto dealership, I was in the parts department the next day. I called around trying to get the price for a remanufactured engine. And I'd already made a deal with one of the mechanics in the back that if I could find an engine that was affordable to us, what he would charge me to do the work on his off time. So it's like, yeah, he worked us a good deal. About $250 just to take the old one out, slap it in. He'd even drain the fluids out of the old one, clean it all up to where we could take it back as the core. Hey, Nightmare, how are you doing today, sir? Welcome in. Welcome in. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in another great Elite Dangerous Community Commander, Mr. Nightmare. Great guy, great entertainer. If you don't know who he is, please click that link, go over, give him a follow, leave his notification bell on. Make sure you tell him Astro sent you over. And let me also give a shout out to another good friend of the stream, Mr. Ark the Bearded. Great guy, good friend of mine. Please click that link over and give him a follow also. We ended up calling around to find an engine. Out of curiosity, I started calling around to get the price of a new engine. With a $300 price difference, we just bought a new engine. Mom called her up, told her the price. She goes, I can't afford that. I'll see what I can do. So I called the guy back up. It was at the Chevy dealership. I said, order it. I want it. He goes, who's it for? It's like, it's for me. Make it a cash sale through our dealership so I can get the discounted rate. I told him I'm paying cash for it. He's like, all right, I'll call you when it comes in. 5 days later, he gave me a call. Engine was in. Went up there on my lunch hour. I paid him cash. I told him, asked him, have it delivered to us. But take it, and I told him exactly what stall to put it in. And he did. And he dropped it off there. Everybody was wondering why I was having an engine delivered into one of the mechanic bays. It was Friday afternoon. Charles, mechanic who was going to be doing the work on it, was there first thing Saturday morning, started doing work on it. I was there with him. Man, we had that thing ripped out and back in about 4 or 5 hours. Purring like a little kitten. Parked my truck outside the gate so I could go back and get it after hours, and drove her vehicle home after I paid him. And she's like, but I didn't pay you for it. I didn't ask you for any money, did I? Here's your vehicle. Don't do that again. So if the lights come on, tell me right away. Yep. Ark, you know I'm not always kind, so be careful about that. That's an offensive word to me, just like calling me gentleman. I've got a reputation to uphold, man. I've got a reputation. I'm okay. Could be better, but I manage. Ah, I'm sorry, Nightmare. I am so sorry. Hope things get better for you, sir, and I'm always here to talk if you need to. Okay? I mean that. I mean that. I had to replace the engine in my Focus one time. Got one with another 50,000 kilometers on it for like 700. Yep. I paid 4,500 for her engine because a remanufactured one was running at 3,700. It was an $800 difference. Warranty was a lot better for the brand new one, so I just went ahead and went with it. I didn't see any point in getting a remanufactured one for almost the same price of a new one. So I paid for it. Of course, she cried. My mom cried about everything, but she cried. And, oh, she went to work the next day beaming, telling everybody, my son bought me a new engine for my truck. Of course, she didn't tell him exactly what happened to it. And I always made sure that she was careful and checking her fluid levels so that didn't happen again, especially with a brand new one, because I couldn't afford a second engine. Oh, she was so happy. And a year later, she traded it in for a Jeep. Like, why didn't you do that when it was just a hunk of junk sitting there? Well, I didn't want a Jeep at that time. Told her, make sure you watch your lights and gauges because I'm not buying an engine for this thing. I had to price one a few months before after we took one in for a used car. The engine was toast. Called around to get the price of an engine. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Came out of a write-off at that warehouse for a couple of years. They just wanted it gone. Hey, that's pretty good. You got a good deal out of it. Like I said, I managed just getting the feeling I have some extra mental thing that no one diagnosed yet. As every other month I feel more down. If you could, I know what you mean, Nightmare. I know what you mean. But you always know you got friends around. Friends you could talk to, friends who understand. Friends you could vent to. Don't feel like you're going through the world alone, because you're not. You're not. We're all in this together. And I know that's what they're saying about the COVID stuff with the mask and all, but yeah, we're all in this together. But Nightmare, just as I told real earlier, you need to talk, man, just send me a message. I'm almost always here. Well, especially right now with the arthritis flare up I have going on. Believe me, I'm not getting a shoe on that foot, and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I knew when I was in the emergency room I should have kicked my shoe off that foot, but I'm paying for it dearly now. When I start having arthritis flare up, I know that when I have shoes on, I have to take them off within about an hour and a half, and I kept it on for 7 hours. When I got home, I thought I was going to have to cut the shoe off. Would have been the first time I've had to cut a shoe off that foot. And I've lost quite a few socks that way, too. You know, that's the key thing right there, Zegas, is the fact that, yeah, isolation does not bode well for everybody. It doesn't. It doesn't help. Kids need interaction with other kids. They need to learn to be sociable. Adults are the same way. And I think that's the reason why there's so much rudeness going on around right now everywhere, is that people have forgotten how to talk to each other. And for those people that, need to get out, they need to talk to somebody else. This is all, it's all new to us. We've never had to do anything or deal with anything like this before. So it's hard. It's hard. And it's mentally stressful. And with all the stress we normally have in our lives, this isn't exactly helping matters. I know experts would probably say I'm full of crap, but I know how to read people. And yeah, I've seen it. People are rude to each other over the smallest little things. Yep. Logically trained people. Oh, it has. This has added more stress to everybody. I mean, just think what business owners go through. How can I keep my business open? How can I afford to keep paying my rent? How can I afford to feed my kids because I've got no income coming in? And now at least a lot of the restrictions are being lifted in most places. Texas and Mississippi have lifted everything. At least some life can start getting back to normal. But the fact is, the damage is already done because we've been almost a little over a year of this. Yeah. I tell people pull the corn cob out of their ass to stop being so rude. Absolutely. Absolutely. I told that to some woman the other day. Luckily, there are small things in life that help me stay positive, like the new AR headset Microsoft. Really? Microsoft just announced a new altered reality headset? I'll have to check on that one. Hadn't heard about that. Yeah. Lockdown started here about this time last year, too. This is when it was just starting to get around, and they were finding it in, I think it was New York first. And it spread across the country. It was bad and it was quick. But they'd always warned that the pandemic could happen. They always warned it could happen. They always said it would spread quickly. They were right on that part. The fact is that they didn't know how to combat this one. And their so-called experts would say something one day and then 3 days later change it to say something else. It's like when the CDC said a mask was enough, and then all of a sudden it was by touch. Always wash your hands. Then it was like wear a double mask. Oh, blazing. No place is going to be the same. Everything that we knew, it'll never be like that again. I don't think. I really don't think. I think there are going to be a lot of changes. Oh, no wet work. I'm not going to find that for you. I'll take your tea. Now, who is going to send hostile ships after me for 2 units of tea? I don't even think I've ever been to this system before. Oh, tell me, let me guess. Somebody's coming, right? Oh. But apparently announced yesterday called Microsoft Mesh. Not sure if it's good for games, but appears to be linkable with certain VR headsets. Well, thank you, Nightmare. I'm going to check that out. I will definitely check that out. Our province had one of the best survival rates across Canada. Lockdowns when our cases were stolen. Yeah, our cases exploded when they started lifting restrictions as well here in Kansas. They didn't think it was going to happen and it caught them off guard. My doctor called yesterday to reschedule my appointment again. This one was a setup test. Wow. Okay, you need to tell your doctor that he needs to quit rescheduling that appointment. Dilly, thank you very much for the host, brother. Welcome in. Good morning to you. Blazin, you really need to tell your doctor to quit rescheduling your appointment. You do. You absolutely have to. Even though we still aren't open as much as Ohio or Indiana, we started lifting restrictions, and when our cases started exploding again, they started putting some of the restrictions back in place, but not as heavily. The businesses were allowed to remain open, but they could only allow so many people in per square footage of the store. So at least it gave them a chance. Bars had takeout cocktails. Bars were given the ability to do takeout cocktails. They put them in to-go cups and sent you on your way. And they've now made it a law to where that's going to be the thing now. You don't have to sit in the bar. Yeah, I can see exactly what that's going to do. There's going to be a lot more DWI cases now. Yeah. It is. Neurologists really nervous. That's the reason why you need to tell them, Blazin, to quit rescheduling the appointment, that you need to get it done. You need to. Friend of yours lives in Phoenix, got real bad there. I've got friends down in the Plano area. They're not germaphobes, but they really got scared. They really got scared. A suburb of northern Dallas. Whereas we took our mask everywhere in our Purell to wipe our hands in our vehicles when we got through grocery shopping or any place else, they did that. They also were wearing long sleeves everywhere and neck guards. Neck guard wasn't that bad in the wintertime. They could have used it for that, but in the summertime? He asked me, you think we're going a little overboard? It's like, yeah, just a little bit. I mean, I know there is such a thing as being cautious, but if you're going to get it, you're going to get it. As long as you take precautions. But long sleeves in the summertime in northern Texas? No. If a neurologist says that it's worth let other cases have priority, the results are probably positive. Ooh. And see, that don't make any sense, as the fact is you're asking them why they're rescheduling and they can't give you an answer. Say something. Does the doctor have another appointment? Does he have an emergency at home? Something. I actually had a doctor in Baton Rouge call up, cancel my appointment because he had a tea time. was like, are you kidding me? Waited 2 weeks for this appointment. You're going to call me up and cancel because he wants to go play golf? Another doctor right there at the clinic ended up taking me in because I was so furious over it. We've had the limited occupancy for a long time since last year. Yeah, I don't remember exactly when we went for. They passed that here in Kansas where it was mandatory indoors. And then you see the people walk around with them outdoors, and people were complaining about people actually being outdoors not wearing masks. They were complaining, telling them, put your mask on. Don't you care about other people and this and that? It's like, lady, we're outside. As soon as I start approaching that door to go into the business, it's going on. As soon as I come out that door and walk about 10 feet away from it, it's coming back off. No. I agree. I just also recently had a test on the COVID seizures and headaches too. Yeah. Wait a minute. You saw a dude in a Walmart in a Tyvek suit and a full face respirator? Okay, now that is taking things overboard. I mean, it's not like we're talking biohazard here. That's just wow. I just give people wide berth outdoors when I'm not masked up. Exactly. I do the same thing. I do the same thing. I don't walk right up against them. Somebody tries to walk right up against me, I sidestep to step away from them. Yeah. So apparently I was mistaken about the AR being revealed, as it seems they are all using it's like the HoloLens 2, but mesh just like a new mixed reality tool. You know, Nightmare, I was trying looking for one of the mixed reality. I was looking for a VR headset, and I actually couldn't find any. I couldn't find any. This is when the Oculus and the HTC Vive were all sold out. Now Oculus has released, what is it? I think it's called the Galaxy 2. Something like that. That's wireless, but you have to connect through Facebook. And then they've got the Rift S, which is like the original Oculus Rift, but smaller, lighter, not as many cables to have to plug in. And actually quite affordable at $300. Sometimes keep it on the outside if it's cold. Yeah. Oh, that's so hard seeing people driving down the road with their mask on. You know, I've seen that too, Butterfly. I really have. In their car, just driving down the street, wearing the mask, and it's like, why? Nobody else in the vehicle with you. Why? You know the worst part? I caught myself doing it one day. I actually forgot to take the mask off. I get in the vehicle, start driving out of the parking lot. I'm going down the road. That's like, crap. And I reach up there and I pull the thing off because I forgot I had it on. That fast. Yep. I was laughing at myself. Couldn't do anything else. We're going to the Ramit system. I can never say this name without smiling. I just can't. Astroglide going to the Ramit system. Sorry. It's early. My mind's still elsewhere. When I was working, I had someone come in with shower cap, ski goggles, mixed match disc gloves, and a mask. And they used hand sanitizer on the glove. Man, I've seen people at Walmart use the dishwashing gloves. I'm just standing there looking at them, just shaking my head. You know, and I used to remember as a kid being outside playing in dirt.
Zero Dragons!
Marcus, thank you for the 50 bits, sir. My heart is now in my throat. Yeah, some of them are a lot louder than others. Thank you for the 50 bits, Marcus. That one, yeah. Oh, yeah. The Quest 2, yeah. That's it. That's the one that's Facebook that may not be compatible with some games from Steam. I've got questions about that one. I have questions about that one. Yes, and I have seen people use hand sanitizer on gloves before. Now, I come from the time period where, we used to play outside in the dirt. Used to making, unfortunately, I remember doing this, eating mud pies. Don't say it, Marcus. Do not say it. Yes, I did. Staying out until the streetlights came on. When my mom said, you better be in this door by the time those streetlights come on, she was right. She was right. But she always knew when we were at our friend's house, all she had to do is pick up the phone, call, and we'd be coming back. Yep. Yep. Killed an anaconda day purely by ramming it with your mamba. I'd have liked to have seen that. I would have liked to have seen that. Big, colorful ones. I don't know. I don't know. People with their gloves. People with their gloves. Got to wake up the dude next window. I'm kind of more concerned about waking the wife upstairs because I woke her upstairs before just by laughing and she come down here and raised 7 kinds of hell at me. She laid the law down. Everybody, please welcome in Silver Architect 78. Great friend of mine, great friend of the stream. Another elite dangerous commander. If you don't know who he is, please click that link over, give him a follow. Leave his notification bell alone. Make sure you tell him Astro sent you over. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get caught up on chat here, so I keep kind of glancing over at it and scrolling over it. Yeah, the Quest 2 is standalone, requires Facebook. Yeah, that's the reason why I've got questions about that one as to whether Steam games would work on it, or if you have to go only play Facebook games. I kind of figured that that's the direction Facebook would be going after they took ownership of Oculus. I have to get one of the Rift S's, though. I really do. Trying to figure out some way to convince the wife. Yeah, I need it. I'm trying. You could hook it up to your PC for better performance, but it's not required. It's cool for what it is, but requiring that Facebook login. Yeah, that's the part that gets me. That's the part that gets me. My friends all know I play games. Because, I mean, little small town I live in, what else am I going to go do? Go to a bar every night? Get my hair cut once every 3-4 months? It's about the only thing to do here after a certain period of time. You know, there's nothing to do. The bowling alley closed down. The little movie theater we had here closed down years ago. There is no... There's nothing to do. To do anything, you have to go 60 miles away. Restaurants here close at 8 o'clock at night. Had to go get RG real quick. I just did some more research. HoloLens 2 is AR, so it's for gamers that maybe in the future. Certain companies work. If I remember right, the first altered reality was supposed to be a little bit for gamers. Now, this is when the VR headsets first started coming out. I don't think they really went over well, but I don't really remember. I don't really remember. I knew it was a new market that everybody was starting to jump into, and there were, for altered reality, there was Microsoft, Asus, and there were about 10 or 12 different companies that jumped on board, releasing them all roughly about the same time. Yeah. Hey, now my ears are back to normal. Well, Silver, just blame Marcus. That's right, Imfried. Imfried's the one who did it. Just blame him, not me. I had absolutely nothing to do with it. Absolutely nothing at all. This time, I'm innocent, and I really am. Most other times I claim I'm innocent and I'm not. But this time I am. My tinnitus does not like Leroy. Mine, after being around heavy construction equipment for many, many years, when I'm really tired, the buzzing gets louder and louder. I've learned how to focus it out until I'm almost exhausted, and then I can't block it anymore. I can't focus on other things. Like today, it's very loud. That cuts through it. But I almost always have a ringing in my ears. Always. So there are certain sounds that make it worse than any other time. But my ears are sensitive also to certain pitches. Like wind noise in cars, I can almost pinpoint exactly where they're coming from. Yeah. And it makes me so glad I live in a big city, always something to do. I still just play video games. Well, like I said, there's nothing to do here. It's a town of 2,400 people. The streets roll up when the sun goes down. There's, no lie, there are 4 bars here, numerous beauty shops and barber shops, but nothing else. There's nothing to do at night. Got to go up to Topeka. Got to go to Emporia. Kansas City is about, let's see, Overland Park is roughly 70 miles away. I mean, if you really want to do anything, Kansas City and Topeka is about the best place to go. And if you really want a night on the town, it's Kansas City. Blame Astro, it's his alert. Hey, now, I didn't set it off. It's my alert, but I didn't set it off. Make it sound like I did it. I'm completely innocent on that one. I am innocent on that one. I know I'm innocent on that one. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I really am. I am. Don't worry, Marcus, I will. I have. You triggered it. Yeah, I feel that. Metal fabrication for years and dumb choices of fireworks in my youth. Listen to music extremely loud. Didn't exactly help. I had stupid friends who liked taking air horns and blasting them by your ears. But mainly doing survey work near heavy construction equipment, railroad hump yards, things like that. And it all took its toll. We never thought anything about it. We didn't think it was that loud, but apparently it was. Too late to do anything about it now. I've got good hearing except for specific tones and the constant ringing. So I can focus it out. If I'm well rested, I can actually focus it out. The problem is right now is the fact that I haven't had much sleep over the past couple days. And the more tired I am, the louder it is because I can't focus away from it. I can't block it. Some days it just seems like it's a low hum. Right now, it sounds like it's a kind of like a school bell going off in my ears. Now, I've had hearing tests. I passed the hearing test because I was well rested, able to focus on what they were doing. There were a couple tones I missed because they kind of blended in with everything that's going on, but yeah. I mean, I know that they always warned us protect your hearing, don't do this, don't do that. You never think about it. You know, firing guns too, you don't think about wearing hearing protection. In the Navy, we had the big 5-inch shells that were going off. That sound blasted through the ship. Our little small ship, yeah, there was no escaping that noise. No escaping any of it. We had that. We had, and there was just so much stuff. So much. Mine's very, very high pitched. Can't even think of something to compare it to. Yeah. Like I said, for the most part, it's always a low hum. The more tired I am, the more it starts getting louder and louder. And right now, it's incredibly loud. I've been to doctors, they've looked at it, and nothing they can do, so it's just something I have to live with. But I've learned, though, that it's the rest. And right now, with an arthritis flare up, I don't get much rest. So, because I don't get much rest, I have the loud buzzing that's continuously going on. Complete hearing loss at age 5, had tubes in my ears I'm getting infected, both eardrums due to it. Still get ear infection real easy. I've had friends like that, Blazing. I've had friends like that. I can't even handle the cop car sirens as they are too high pitched. Man, I'm sorry. I am sorry. Oh, I guess it would help if I actually dropped the stuff off here I was supposed to deliver. That might be nice. And we're about to take off again and never gave them their stuff. Oh, yes, yes, yes. This is going to be a planetary landing. Oh boy, what fun. Go talk to Elon, get that neural link. No, no, no. No implantation of anything like that. No putting computer chips in my brain. You know, none of that. He couldn't pay me to put that thing in. Go back and check something real quick. Okay, Nightmare. Why? I'll go get it and play Elite telepathically. Do it like that. Have better control of it. And everybody will swear be damned that you're hacking. But you know, my youth, I never considered anything about it. Wouldn't happen to me. 20s, no problem. 30s, no problem. Started hearing when maybe about 8 years ago. It was just very mild humming. Didn't think anything of it. Man, when I hit 50, I heard it. 3 years later, yeah. It's the reason why I try to be careful with everything now. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Why do I have... Why is Ramet highlighted? Is this where it came from? Okay, pickup system Ramet. Okay. I grabbed the contract and didn't even know where it came from. That's bad. That is bad. Imagine how accurate you could be with the fixed weapons if you could aim by looking rather than trying to use a mouse controller stick. Bingo. That's the key thing. That would be good. That would be good. It would be amazing. Never miss a rail shot again. Nobody would. Nobody miss anything. But it would be good just sitting here looking at it. You know, you put your controllers down, you got your hands free, and then all of a sudden you're just tracking the ship with your eyes and your guns start tracking with it, or the ship starts turning in that direction to where you can start tailing them. Follow up behind them and start opening fire on them just by thinking it. That would be pretty cool. That would be good. Yeah, that humming is terrible, honestly. I know mine is. You know, and as bad as it is, the more tired I am, the louder it is. It's going to sound weird, but when I actually go to bed at night, it sounds like it softens up. I mean, the sound what I'm hearing right now is normally what I hear before I go to bed, and as soon as I lay in bed, it's like it just kind of, it's not as loud. So I don't know. I know it sounds weird, but that's that's what happens. The key thing would be if Astro could aim. Hey, I can aim. I can aim. I can aim good in COD. I just got hit by a drop box one day that kind of bounced off a bus and trapped me up against a pole and crushed me. Still never thought that was possible, but that game proved me wrong on that one. I don't have it all the time, but I get it sometimes. I have mine all the time. I have it all the time. And there are some times where my wife just talks so softly that I can't hear her over it. And she thinks I'm just doing the selective hearing thing. It's like, I really didn't hear you. I didn't. I didn't do it on purpose. Yeah, Arik, I'm sure we're glad to see that in person. I mean, that was, I didn't think the drop boxes could kill somebody. I got stuck on that pole before it hit me. Yeah. Honestly, I get the same thing a bit. Like when there's no other noise, it's trying to be forefront. When it's quiet, it chills out. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like it wants you to be able to go to sleep. So it silences just enough. But my mind is so active that sometimes it's hard to be able to focus enough to, try to relax to get that sleep. Ah, crap. Too far away. I did it wrong. Oh, my fault. My fault. How far are we away? Thought we were going to be closer to it, but that was my error. Actually, I got stuck. I got stuck on the pole. I couldn't make it in the bus. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, I've been stuck on things that weren't there. You couldn't see. Let's not forget about the people who can snipe you all the way across the map from point A to point B. Yeah. Selective hearing. Wish I had that. I just hear everything at once without being able to accurately focus on a single sound. Yeah. My friend's son is autistic, and yeah, we're always careful talking to him. Great kid. Fantastic. I can't wait to see. No. I can't wait to see what he does later in life. I really can't. Maybe. One time, literally just driving along, big truck and killed at me. That was our problem when we were playing with PUBG. You could drive through one wooden fence with no problem, but you try to drive through a wooden fence on the other side of the same house, you would explode because I guess they had it listed as being more solid in coating instead of just being the same wooden fence. Yeah, that one was good. That one was cute. That was cute because there were four of us in the car. We were all standing there like, huh? What? We didn't understand what had happened. Oh, I'm pretty good sniping at plunder. When we decided to take the prison and hold it, I'm pretty good about sitting up on the front towers and taking people off. Or if somebody's got the front towers, us landing in the back and picking them off one by one. My daughter has Asperger's and autism. Yes, ma'am. Casey is Casey, Red Sun. Amazing young man. Absolutely amazing. Funny as a whip. Oh yeah. Jimmy told us one time about Casey taking a shower and deciding to air dry. They walked in there and he was just laying in bed with no clothes on because he wanted to air dry. Cuts down on laundry that way. Couldn't help but laugh. He had good intentions. I liked it. The only thing I ever did like that was around Christmas time. I'd always tell my mom, you should let me open my presents early because you're going to feel bad if something happens to me and I die before Christmas and I won't be able to see or enjoy the presents you got me. She said that was the ultimate guilt trip I ever did to her. She didn't know how to respond. She had to call my grandmother for advice because she wanted to give me all my gifts with that one. Best one I've seen was from the Tower of Prison. That would be great if that was a legitimate shot. That would be great if that was legit. We've got some amazing shots in too from long distances. And you know those people were probably cussing us for it, calling us cheaters, but they were legit shots. Yeah, Blazing, they absolutely are. And he was so excited about the telescope I sent him for his birthday. Can't wait for him to get it and use it. Can't wait for him to be able to use it. Because as a kid, I was always amazed by outer space and hearing him come up to Jimmy and start talking about the composition of asteroids, planets, things about the sun, brought all that to mind. And that's when I thought, that would be the perfect gift for him. So, yep. It was, though. It was so lucky. Dude took so much time to line it up. Missed like 2 or 3 shots before he hit him. Holy cow. Now, Battlefield 4, I've had some tremendous sniper shots. There was one in particular that you could get on top of a mountain and you could actually snipe all the way across the map. When you hit somebody that far, it was a lucky shot because all you saw was pretty much just a little black dot. That's all it was. And I got lucky and picked somebody off with one shot before. Yeah, I got called a cheater and a hacker, and it's like everybody else is standing around me going, And Blazing, it almost worked. It almost worked. She almost gave me all my presents that day. It was about 3 or 4 days before Christmas. I tried. It doesn't hurt to try because you never know what may happen. You may actually be able to get it. But I did try. I was 6, 7. That was also the same year my mom bought me a robe and she left it up in the closet. And we had company coming over. She told me to get my robe that she got me for Christmas. It was now June. Told her she never gave me a robe for Christmas, and I proceeded to tell her everything she gave me for Christmas. So she goes, if that thing is still up in my closet, I'm going to eat it. That's what she said. And so she got up in the closet. She started looking around, and all I hear is, son of a... And she pulls it out and throws it to me, and it's still wrapped up for Christmas. And I ask her if she wants me to go get the salt and pepper. I got called a little smartass for that. She raised me that way. She raised me to speak my mind, so I spoke my mind. We woke my mom up 1:30 in the morning one year, and she was mad as ever. I never woke my parents up early for Christmas morning. But I did get up at 5 o'clock in the morning one time and almost caught my father putting together my Christmas presents, my toys. Almost. The reason why I woke up, he was cussing so much. It was a tin metal fort that he was cutting his hands apart on because it was so hard to put together. Yeah. Oh, let's see. Okay, we're going to unlock our destination, and now we're going to do it. Now we're going to do it. I remember a map like that in BF3. You know, you're right. It wasn't 4, it was 3. It was BF3 that did that. You're absolutely right. That was a BF3 map. 4 was more... 4 had a lot of maps that were more close quarters. Where you could get some sniper shots in, but it was more... Yeah. But you are absolutely right. I was wrong. Yeah, BF4 did have the urban maps. It had been so long since I played both of them, I forgot which one it was, but you are absolutely right. You are right. I used to end up waking early just playing video games till they woke up. I'd wake up early and I'd have to sit there and wait for them to get up. You know, as a kid, you're impatient, so you just kind of gently start getting louder and louder. That was my thing. You know, I'd do things to make the dog bark. I'd open their bedroom door for the cat, throw the cat in, and just shut the door so the cat would wake them up. That was me. That was me. Yeah. Yeah, BF4 was more urban maps. I remember there was one map for some reason I could not play because every time it came up in the rotation, I crashed out. It was one that had... highway overpasses on it. It's like kind of downtown city. But yeah, seen some insane heli pilots before. I've seen that too. I do remember that too. We've in and around the towers. Oh yeah. The BF4 map where you could actually cause the big skyscraper to collapse. Yep. I was good for shooting the helo pilots out when they were flying along trying to get us. I'd pick the helo pilots out. And when the enemy team had the building, we'd always go through and destroy the supports to collapse it. Lockers, not lockers then? I don't, as far as which one I was crashing on, I don't remember. I just know that every time it came up, I would just exit out because there was no point trying to go into it. So I'd just crash out, I'd exit out, wait for my friends to finish the game, and then join back up with them, and we'd jump into the next one. Really hope BS6 is more modern. Wasn't too impressed with 5. You know, a lot of people were not impressed with 5. I wasn't. I really wasn't. I kind of liked BF1 for World War One, but 5 I just couldn't get into for some reason. I don't know what it was. It was something that just wasn't right about it, that just did not hold my attention. But if they want to keep their franchise alive, they are going to have to do better with 6. Because I think COD messed up when they did the advanced infantry and warfare stuff, that they should have stuck with, more true to home, like what built them up. That was the time for Battlefield to get ahead. One, they kind of lost a little bit on that lead on, and 5, they just lost it. And the, what is it, Firestorm, their BR, I wasn't impressed with that. I wasn't impressed with it at all. BF3, I was a sniper, but in a tank. Would shoot the Heelys. What times they could jet out with a tank? Yeah, I got lucky. I did that a couple times. Sniper on a rooftop kept shooting our guys. Me in a tank, I pegged him with a tank round. Loved watching Jeeps come around the corner to see my tank sitting there, and you could almost imagine the guy saying, "Oh shit," and being blown up. Oh yeah. I loved running the people over too. I think they needed to have a little squishing sound. Oh, that's kind of cold, but they should have done it. Sorry, I kind of got a little sadistic side a little bit. Yeah, the Sledgehammer COD games, so the Black Sheep, Advanced Warfare, Ghosts. Yeah. They just weren't COD. They weren't. And I think that's kind of what hurt them a little bit, was the fact that they tried to take it advanced. It didn't work. And instead of just going back to their roots like they should have done for the very next game, they kind of stayed with it some. Now, the problem we had with Black Ops Black Ops 4. Black Ops 4, my friends and I had a problem on PC. It was amazing. Three of us would try to play zombies. Two of us could always connect, but we could never connect with the third person. We could never get that third person in. And it was stupid because it didn't matter which one of us it was. If two of us could always connect to each other, the third one never did. We've tried various combinations of it, and we could never get it to work because we kept getting errors. Or you were finally able to jump in all three people in a game, which was extremely rare, and then all of a sudden, one person just loses the connection. No, Blazin', I have not made pancakes lately. I still have your recipe, ma'am, and I am going to try it out. I will probably try it out this weekend. But I am wanting to try it out. Yes, ma'am. I haven't forgotten, and I still have it. I've got it wrote down. I've got it sitting in the kitchen, and it's stuck on my refrigerator. See? Yes, ma'am. They were too divergent from the COD we know and love. Gimmicky. That's the word. Gimmicky. And you're absolutely right. Right there. That's exactly what describes it. Hey, Hillbilly 359, how are you doing today, sir? Give me just one moment here. Let me get everything here starting to fly by to the system. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing well. Welcome in. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in Hillbilly 359, a friend of mine, friend of the stream. If you don't know who he is, please click that link, go over, give him a follow. Leave his notification bell on. Make sure you tell him Astro sent you over. Yes, ma'am, we have. No, we haven't. We've been trying to do something different for breakfast. Most recently, about the past, 8 or 9 days, I haven't really been much in the mood for breakfast. I've been eating a sandwich about 10:30, having chips with it. Don't know why. I haven't really been in a breakfast mood. But I do plan on making them this weekend. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I do thank you for the recipe. Hillbilly, thank you very much for the resubscription, sir. Greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm okay, and you? I am doing great, sir. I am doing great. Doing a lot better today than I was yesterday. A lot better today than yesterday. But thank you for the 2-month resubscription, sir. It is greatly appreciated. And welcome aboard to the Delta Fleece. Most of the recipes I know offhand are basic, lots of onions and garlic and meat. See, my grandmother wanted to make sure I could cook. She was afraid I was going to be single my entire life. So she wanted to make sure I could cook. And I can. Unfortunately, most of what I can cook is seafood. And I don't like frozen seafood because it's got a little tang to it. Being raised on the Gulf Coast, you always used to have a fresh seafood. You know it real well. And that frozen stuff just got that weird little taste to it, and I can't get rid of it. I can't. Whoops. Guess it would help to actually click on the game and have control back. But yeah, she was afraid I was going to be single my entire life. I want to make sure you can eat something other than McDonald's all the time. Told her I don't eat McDonald's all the time. Then she said Taco Bell. It's like I don't eat Taco Bell all the time either. Now Chick-fil-A I could eat just about every meal at. Be expensive, but I can just about eat there for every meal. Sorry, I overlooked the renew date. Ah, Hillbilly, that's okay. Thank you very much for the resubscription, sir. I was wondering if it was going to take over. I'm actually a pretty good cook, but I'm also lazy as hell as far as fresh ingredients go. None keep as long as I. Well, I always talk bad about my wife's cooking. Don't get me wrong. I love the woman. I do. She can't cook for crap. I still don't know how you could take a chicken breast, have it cooked on the outside and completely raw in the center. And not hers. Mine. That stuff don't last in my house. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some things she can cook that she's pretty good at. There really are. But for the most part, I do almost all the cooking. Oh, oh, oh. There is no son. I meant to hit Starship Services. Thank you for allowing me to land back down. I do greatly appreciate that. That was bad. That was bad. Oh yeah, she could cook. She could cook some things, but there's a lot of stuff she really can't. She's a sweetheart. She looks innocent. She tries, but honey, I'll cook tonight. Why? Because I'd really like to be able to eat something not burnt or raw. Your mom overcooks meats. My mom could take 45 minutes to fix minute rice and it would still be raw and clumpy. Yep, that was her thing. That was always her thing. My mom went to go fix a pizza one time in the oven when I was in high school. She didn't have a cookie sheet or anything to put it on, so she was just going to put it on the rack. She didn't know which way was up, so she put the pizza actually upside down to where the grease was falling on the burner, and she created a grease fire in the apartment. That was 3 days before our high school graduation. My graduation gown smelled of burned pizza. That was funny because the guy I was standing next to, he kept going. He looked at me, he took the sleeve of my gown, he started smelling. He goes, "What is that?" It's like burned pizza. My mother did it. He laughed. Hey, Rafiki, how are you doing today, sir? Welcome in. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope the family's doing good. Grew up with dry pork and chicken, well done steaks. As soon as I learned rare was the way you could eat steak, I have not gone back. Good. I'm glad to hear you're doing well, Rafiki. When we first got our first microwave, it was one of those with just the dial on it for time. There was no window in the door. My mom thought because it took about 8 minutes to cook a hot dog that she could put she could put a hot dog in the microwave for 8 minutes. It dinged one day. She told me to get my supper out of the oven. So I reached into the microwave and was shocked at what I saw. I asked her what it had to be. She goes, "What do you mean?" There was this black charred thing that had that ripped open in multiple locations and juice that sizzled out and had burned on the plate. I didn't even recognize it. It looked like a gigantic raisin. Watching YouTube is distracting. What did I miss? Not much, Nightmare. Not much, sir. I did that as a child. Yeah, she couldn't figure out how to do it. She read that you could cook a potato in the microwave. She could bake it that way. So she put a baked potato in the microwave, attempting to bake it, turned it on. She had this fascination with 8 minutes. The thing went up to 10. Luckily, she only got addicted to 8. We heard this massive explosion. We went up in there, and I'm looking at her, and I'm looking at the microwave, asking her, mind you, I'm about 12 or 13, and I'm asking her, what did you put in the microwave? Oh, just a couple potatoes. Even I was smart enough. It's like, did you poke holes in them first? She's like, you don't need to do that. It's like, yeah, you do. These things need to vent. It's like, carefully hit the door release, and I peeked inside in case one of the potatoes was still armed like a hand grenade. And I opened it up, and there was potato everywhere. And I mean, everywhere. One potato had just split open, but the other one had completely exploded. Yep. Put a hot dog in for 5 minutes. No, she didn't poke holes in it. She didn't poke holes in the hot dog either. There was one day my mom didn't like reading manuals. There was one day she took something out of the freezer and she put it in the microwave, and I remember, and it had foil on it. And she turned it on, and we heard the sizzling. It sounded like electricity arcing. I was like, what did you do? What did you do? I didn't do anything. And smoke's coming from the microwave, and I'm reaching over there, and I'm hurrying up, and I'm turning the thing off, and smoke's still coming out. So I reach over and unplug it. Just looking at it going, please tell me you didn't put metal in there. Why? I can put metal in the microwave. You cannot put metal in the microwave. She's like, where? And I pulled out the manual and I pointed to her. It says, do not put metal in the microwave. She goes, oh. What did you put in there? Just a piece of aluminum foil. My dad was not walking in the kitchen. He was sitting there looking at us through the bar area. Carefully opened the door. Aluminum foil's got scorch marks all across the top. Can't recognize what used to be on the inside, but it was cooked pretty good. It was really cooked. We didn't eat it, but it was good. We had pizza that night. We went out to Mr. Gaddy's. Yep, she put aluminum foil in. She's messed up, and she left forks in there before. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. One day, my brother was about 5 years old. He put a bag of popcorn in the microwave and put it on for 10 minutes. That happened one time where I worked. Somebody went up to the microwave, put a bag of popcorn in, thought they put it on for 5 minutes. They put it on for 15. They walked off. I'm standing up over there because I worked close to the microwave. I had the smell. I ran over there, hit the off button after 7.5 minutes. You could look through the window and the bag was breathing. And every time it kind of like exhaled, you could see smoke coming out of the bag. And the guy walked over there and goes, why'd you turn off my microwave? It's like, because you burnt your popcorn. How do you know? So I showed him through the window that his bag of popcorn was breathing. He goes, that's not normal. I look at him going, how much time did you put that thing in for? He goes, 5. It's like, that was not 5. There's still 7.5 minutes showing on the counter. When did you put it in there? He actually turned it on for 15. Carefully open the microwave. By this time, that nasty smell is all over the shop. It's everywhere. Pulled the bag out, careful not to open it. We walked it and sat it outside because the bag was still breathing. We had the sudden idea that if you opened it up, it was probably going to, flash into flames because of all the sudden oxygen. So we decided not to do that. The inside of the building smelled of burned popcorn for 5 days. That microwave, for 2 months, it smelled like that. It was horrible. It was horrible. Creepy? Yeah, it was very creepy. It was very scary. We were like, uh-uh. But he really wanted to open it. It's like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You cannot do that. I mean, like I said, we had seen the movie Backdraft and all that. So we're thinking fresh oxygen goes into whatever's in there that's causing this black smoke to come out. And the only thing you could think of is poof. I accidentally hit an extra zero in the microwave not too long ago. It was supposed to be 2 minutes. I've actually done that too. The keypad has a single zero in the middle and a double zero to the side, and I accidentally hit the double zero before. What was actually supposed to be 4 minutes became, yeah. It was, I hit the double zero twice and the microwave took it. I didn't even realize it went up that high, but it did. We immediately got a different microwave to make sure that never happened again. My wife fixed something one time. It was June, about 4 years ago. And I don't remember what it was. I just remember being in the kitchen and smelling something, and I realized that the microwave was on fire. That was when I actually had first started growing my beard. And she goes, grab the fire extinguisher. Like, the hell with the fire extinguisher. Open the back door. Hurried up, yanked the plug, carried the thing, was throwing it outside, and about 1.5 inches of beard was singed. It's like, I don't care about the beard. I wanted that thing out of the house. Don't know what was inside of it. I didn't care. I just threw the microwave. Threw it, busted open. You could see the flames on the inside of it. Didn't ask her anything about it because we knew the microwave was going bad. So we knew the microwave was going bad. Oh, that's right. That's the reason why. Go on auto launch. Yeah. Then we had trouble finding another microwave that we wanted. I can already imagine alien chest burster coming out of a breathing popcorn bag. Yeah. Yeah, there was something definitely in there that was breathing, and I wasn't opening it. I just put the bag outside. Everybody's coming running up to our little kitchen area close to where I worked, and they're all like, what is it? What is it? Start pointing at him going, he put popcorn in for too long. That's what you smell. So after it calmed down, after about 5 minutes, we went and opened the bag. Everything in the bag was completely black. Everything was black. Horrible looking, horrible smelling. My wife accidentally did that one time in the house. Luckily, she didn't have it for that many minutes, but she did put it for 2 minutes over. Horrible. It was bad. It was bad. extinguisher would have made one hell of a mess. Yeah. That, the fact the door was only 7 feet away, all I had to do was grab it, unplug it, and walk it outside. It had vents across the top, and that's where the flame started coming up a little bit and started singeing the beard. But yeah, it was. She goes, now how are you going to take that out to the dump? It's like the dump will take it. Our dump had a special place for appliances, but they also had one specific place set aside for microwaves. Microwaves and, what was it, smoke detectors, because the radium involved. Yep. Hey, good morning, Riven. How are you doing today, sir? Welcome in. I've dealt with too many microwaves with different wattages. I stand by the microwave and make them up. Exactly, because you never know exactly how long it's going to take to quit popping. And the directions just give you vague idea, not specifics. Oh, Riven, thank you for the 150 bits, and you startled me before I started drinking. Thankfully, you did, because if not, I would have been wearing it. Oh, I needed that. I needed that. But thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah, you were just a little bit off. Just a little bit. But just remember, Riven, there can be payback. There can be payback. Make me wear my cup of water. You will pay for it. Trust me. You will. I will find a way. I will find a way. Yes. Slightly less radioactive than radium. I just know there's a radioactive isotope in it. I know that one time on one job construction site, they were checking the compaction of the dirt, and this device sent some kind of a microwave burst into the soil to see how well it was compacted. And there was some kind of radioactive isotope in it that actually came out of the machine. And they had to dig the area up to get it, but they were ordering this all away because, you know, radiation hazard. We were all standing around going, that thing had a little radioactive isotope in it? Apparently it did. Got home, started researching what the machine was, started realizing, yeah, there was a radioactive isotope in it. Like, wow, cool. Then I kind of wanted to play with them. I wanted to have one. Don't ask me why. I wanted to do that job for a while. By the way, anyone in here familiar with TikTok? I am not Nightmare. I am not. I just watch their videos and laugh at some of the crazy people on them. Never heard about microwaves having an isotope in them. Makes sense. Smoke detectors did, and I think the first microwaves had. I don't know if they still do. It's the reason why they always had the warnings of nothing self-usable inside or self-repairable. But there was something about the radioactive isotope that could detect not only the heat but the smoke. And that's the reason why our recycling center, they take appliances, but they have a
Zero Dragons!
Marcus, thank you very much for the 50 bits, sir. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. That's the reason why they have a special area set aside just for microwaves and smoke detectors. So I guess microwaves still have something in them. These days, I believe smoke detectors use American. I I don't know. I don't know. I had to get you one more time before I headed off to bed. Well, thank you, sir. It's greatly appreciated. I hope you have yourself a good rest. I'll be catching you later tonight in somebody's stream because I know you'll be there. I know you will. Smoke detectors basically work. The isotope is constantly hitting the detector with radiation. The smoke particles get in the way. When it sees a drop off, it goes off. Okay. Yeah, that would explain sense that way. Yeah, I never knew how smoke detectors worked. I never knew. It has to do with how radio is blocked by the smoke, and if it is detected more, it gets triggered. Okay, that's similar to, well, not quite similar, but the airbags in your car is nothing more than a steel ball and a magnet. And when you get hit by a vehicle and that steel ball breaks away from the magnet, it triggers the airbags. See, I never considered it like that. I never considered it like that. I never knew how microwaves worked. Microwaves. Sorry, smoke detectors. It's time for me to go back to bed. I'm old. What do I know? And don't say it, Marcus, if you're still here. Ever heard of the nuclear Boy Scout? He made a nuclear reactor in his garage out of isotopes. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. That sounds like oh, what was that movie from the mid 80s where the kid for the science project created his own nuclear reactor, but it was actually a nuclear bomb he made? Because John Lithgow was dating his mother or something and worked at some kind of lab. Pretty interesting story. Dude was a genius. I will definitely be checking that one out. I will definitely be checking that one out. That that could be very dangerous. That could be. One thing go wrong. Dirty bomb? If it exploded? That does sound interesting though. It really does. Kid had to have been a genius for that. And our last mission of the day, and we have to chase a big one. Dude's name was David Hahn. Made a working neutron source at 17. Holy cow. That's probably something the US government wouldn't want to have gotten out. That kind of knowledge. Kid could have got a job working anywhere. DM'd you a YouTube vid on it. All right. Thanks, Infree. Thanks, Marcus. Greatly appreciated, sir. It's a nice, quiet, relaxing flight. Don't know exactly how long we've been going, but it's been a. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to turn off. I'll behave myself. I wasn't paying attention to that. It was 99,000 light seconds. But we are almost to our destination. Maybe we'll get there before I get a little bit grayer. Ah, who am I kidding? I don't have much color left in my hair anyway. At least it didn't Hutton Orbital. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And when I first started playing this game, one of my friends tried to send me there. Told me I could get a free ship there. I wasn't falling for that. I wasn't falling for that. But the simple thing is, I used to do that to people in games all the time. It's the reason why I wasn't falling for it, because I didn't trust him. Hey, Justin. I'm doing good. How are you doing today, my friend? Welcome in. Welcome in. Hope you and your family are doing well. Same, I was streaming on PS4 and someone told me about the free Anaconda. That's exactly what he told me, to try to get me to go there. And I knew he was up to something. The reason why is he's just a little practical joker like that. I tell you what, if I'd have gone there, I'd have been going back after him. Just a little bit of revenge, my own little style. Nothing more than a gag gift in return. He's from Michigan and didn't see his 40th. Good. Glad to hear you're doing well. That sounds great. Let me look up exactly where it is. Went to the wiki, saw the mention of the scam. Well, I knew my buddy Anathel wasn't exactly going to, play nice with me, because I play practical jokes on him all the time. That's the reason why I wasn't very trusting. I had a feeling he was up to something. Yeah, I had a feeling he was. Yeah, I'd value my friends, but I also know that most of them are all practical jokers like I am. So I knew that there was something wrong with it. I knew there was. Yeah, he's always up to something. He is always up to something. Scan detected. I'm innocent. I'm innocent. I didn't do it, I tell you. I didn't do it. I was framed. It's Arik's fault. He did it. He did it. I'll squeal on him. He did it. Nice, soft, gentle landing. There we go. There we go. That's always your story, though it's never true. In my eyes, it is, and that's all that matters. I thought you were going to bed. Yeah, you see? I thought you were going to bed. You're still up. Till the courts get involved, we're not going to get involved in that discussion. The less you know, the better. This isn't, what is it, ABC? The more you know. Uh-uh. Uh-uh. The less you know. Well, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, it is that time. Time for me to go get the wife up, and actually got to check on her today, see how she's doing. Got to get the dogs out, got to get them fed. Got a few errands we need to run this morning. But I do wish to thank everybody for coming in. Thank you for the bits. Thank you for the hosts. Thank you for the subscriptions. All greatly appreciated. I hope y'all had a good time. I know I did this morning. Let us go find someone to share the love with, and I know just the perfect young lady. She just put in her partner application and is currently waiting for the results in, and we wish her the best on it. So let's go see Miss Psychic. She is currently playing, of course, Elite Dangerous this morning. But I will be back at 5 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. Until that time, y'all take care, be safe, have yourselves a great day, and thank you.